Okay, so I'd like to welcome Marian Gandy, President of Groomed Incorporated and Dress for Success on Reset Your Thinking podcast. Welcome, Marian. How are you?
Thank you so much, Alex. I'm very well.
Terrific. It's so wonderful to have you here. Now,
Appreciate it.
Marian, let's get straight into it. You are the President of Groomed and Dress for Success.
Yep.
How did you become involved with this organisation?
Always a good question, right? So I became involved after I retired, initially just as a volunteer stylist. And I guess because I'm a bit of a curious cat and wanted to know more about, I like to know how things work, and I
Right.
want to know how the organisation worked. And all of a sudden you get sucked in and you're on the committee, and then gradually got more and more involved. And yeah, I've been president since August 2018.
Wow. Yes. Oh, that's
So
fantastic.
yeah.
Awesome. Wonderful. Thank you. And you're a curious cat. So you wanted to know more. And you're a stylist, you said.
Oh, well, very amateur. I like clothes.
Nice.
I know the effect, I guess, of looking good and feeling good.
Yeah.
I've been in roles where, I've had to stand up in front of people of various descriptions, and you kind of know that if you've got yourself together, you can present far more confidently. So, it seems superficial, but it's not.
It's not. And I couldn't agree with you more. I really couldn't agree with you more because, what we wear communicates an emotion to us as well. Everything communicates.
Yeah.
And you're so right. If our hair's done well, if we've got the right clothes on, we're going to bring a different person to the table compared to
right.
if we're just.
And you don't have to think about it. You don't have to think about, is my hemline shifted, or you're fiddling
That's
with
it.
around your appearance, that because you want a story to tell, or you've got a point to get across. So for our clients, I think it's the first step for them to change that inward looking, I feel bad about myself attitude to, oh my goodness, look at me.
Absolutely. And you probably noticed too, Marian, that, when people put different clothes on, their whole physiology changes.
Absolutely. There's that physical straightening, of the shoulders, the holding of the head, the
Yeah, I love that. And that
actually to have a play, we encourage them to have time and strut the stuff for the camera when we take an after picture. So it's a lot of fun.
Fantastic. And that's what it's all about, isn't it? Having fun too, whilst you're getting people ready to for an interview or for whatever it is.
Whatever's like next for them. Sometimes our clients are a long way from job ready. So, we're very conscious that whatever we can do for them, we'll just take them to the next step, whatever that is. Hopefully we'll take them to the next step, whatever that is.
Awesome. Which brings me to my next question, actually. Can you tell me a little bit about, or tell our listeners and our viewers about the work that you do with Groom to Go?
Sure. So of course I can. This is what I do.
Love it.
Groom to Go is a not-for-profit organisation whose mission is, and I thought I'd combine your next question, get it in here. So our mission is to provide clothing and support for people in need. It's very simple, very straightforward. So people might need our services if they're going for a job interview, if they're starting work. They might be, as I mentioned, not job ready. So they might be coming out of the justice system or fleeing domestic violence. So really, whatever their needs are, we try to make a very personalised service for them, so that we can provide the clothing that's appropriate to their circumstances. Because if you're going for a job interview, then clearly, well, if you're going for a job interview at a bar, for instance, you don't need the little black suit. Or the suit and tie if you're a bloke. If you're going for a job interview in a corporate situation, then you might need to suit up. So we need to know enough about our clients' circumstances to dress them appropriately. If they've just left home out of an abusive situation, then clearly they need something to be comfortable in. So the range is quite broad.
Yeah, I'm really glad you mentioned that, Marian, because a lot of people and our listeners could be thinking, well, I mean, that's obvious, isn't it? But it's not, because we don't know what we don't know. And if we've never experienced that before, or perhaps someone who's maybe coming out of a DV situation, domestic violence situation, their thinking is not where yours and mine is, for example, or if
Mm.
someone has been unemployed for long term, or maybe
For long
someone's been in the
term,
justice
yeah.
system. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's people like yourself and your organisation that provide them the advice too, I'm guessing, in terms of, okay, and
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So we like to, we do like to, and it's something that we're growing, I think. We like to work closely with the referral agency. So if it's a job active provider or a community support group, to really sort of work with them to say, well, what we can offer is X, Y, Z. We, from the conversation we had, I think your client would benefit from, either a workshop or talking to someone that we might know. So that community connectedness is becoming more and more important, I think, in
Totally.
our offering. Yeah.
Totally. So that people also know, one, that you exist, because, not everyone knows what's around in terms of community support.
Yeah, exactly.
And two, the services that you do offer. But it's always good when you've got someone in front of you. You mentioned, you work with job providers, employment service providers, people who, I guess, the unemployed tap into, job seekers tap into, to be able to get that assistance. And I think it's really important to create an awareness and bring it to surface that, okay, Groom to Go is here. And not necessarily do you have to be unemployed too, right? Like you could be all...
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
We used to be very sort of single lane, if you like. Our women's program is part of the International Affiliation of Dress for Success organisations, and we sort of adhered to their sort of structured program. But we sort of, even under that program, we did see women coming to us from all different walks of life, and that understanding that not everybody is ready here and now to be going for an interview in the next couple of weeks, So then when we broadened our services in 2019 to include men, to include transgenders, we really have a very inclusive offering as far as the people that we serve. And if someone walks in off the streets and they're clearly in need, then hell will help them,
Yeah, that's fantastic. And that's wonderful. It's very community spirited. It's very important to create that safe space for anybody who walks in the door.
Yeah. I think really, the focus of our organisation is putting the client first. It's
beautiful.
Really whatever, it's become a bit of a mantra, even when we're sorting clothes or whatever we're considering. Well, what's the client? Where's the client in this? If you keep that at the forefront of your mind, then it really helps to focus the thinking, because, you can get distracted.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's very easy to get distracted.
And I love that you're bringing your human. That is so important. We sort of tend to forget, don't we?
Yeah.
And what I love about yourself and your team is that there's a human connection, a human touch, a human side to it. And that is so important, particularly when you're dealing with people from all over, a diverse range of people.
Yeah.
But even more than that, you could even be a mum or a dad who perhaps has been working for their partner all this while and hasn't been in the workforce for so long, and now suddenly perhaps their partner's business has gone, is not as that it is no longer or whatever. Yeah. And so now they've got to take that step to start looking for work out there.
And it's a very different environment, right?
Totally.
From working in a family business or a place where you can just be yourself. I'm not saying you shouldn't be anything other than yourself in the workplace, but I think that confidence piece is it's remarkable, I think, how quickly, even for you and me, who I think are pretty confident women.
Yes.
Just playing. That if you take us out of our natural environment for a while and then plonk us into something else, it you go, it takes a little while to find your feet again and to channel that inner confidence again.
Totally.
So
it's the unknown, isn't it? It's that. And then when we're in the unknown, we do become vulnerable. It's how we are as human beings. And some of us bounce back real quick and some of us take a little bit longer. But that we have support out there, I think is really important, which takes me to my next question in terms of what programs or services do you offer specifically? And I know that you mentioned, you offer the clothing side of it, but I know that it's deeper than that.
Indeed. So we in the past, we've had a suite of in-house workshops. And I have to say, through 2020, with the challenges that 2020
we've all
brought,
had,
we switched to utilising our partnership with Chisholm Institute, who provide, who very quickly switched to online offerings for their work readiness workshops and career counselling and that sort of thing. Now that we're back, we have our in-person programs, you know, face-to-face styling. But we've maintained our virtual offering as well, because we realise that not everybody can get to us physically. So we can do a styling by Zoom, or we can do it on the phone, or we can just do it completely remotely, as we do for our people coming out of the justice system, where we get a sizing chart, a bit of information on their colouring and preferences and that sort of thing, and we can put together a pack of clothing. From a workshop perspective, what we're trying to develop is, as I say, this personalised approach. So referral to Chisholm when appropriate, because there's lots of people doing interview skills and resume building. And, you know, I think if we can do our styling services really well, and perhaps work out some niche kind of workshops more around the well-being side of things. So coping with the stress of job application, or how to just look after yourself, you know, a little bit better. There's also, you know, a number of community services running short course learning opportunities. I know Franks North are just starting a program on Get Ready, called Get Ready, which will be just taking people who've never worked through the essentials of what it is to work, like showing up, being on time, and being, you know, well presented. So getting involved in those sort of things where we are really deeply embedded in the community is where we want to, you know, we're wanting to run our programs.
Yeah, no, that's wonderful. And I love that you said too that you're still continuing the virtual. I think that's really key, especially, you know, having worked in the prison system myself. I know that there are sometimes boundaries, not just with people from the justice system, but with people in general. Sometimes people feel, you know, there's that angst, that anxiety, that face-to-face. And what a wonderful journey you're taking them on, in that you're slowly building that rapport with them. And you're cool to start virtual, and then slowly but surely that'll start opening up to whatever. So you're catering for pretty much everybody, regardless.
It's been interesting because we've had a few conversations about, wow, there's a lot going on. And there is a lot going on. But yeah, I think it's really hard to decide what we wouldn't do, you know, in this current climate. And I love the fact that our offering is really broad at the moment.
I think so too. And it's a great starter.
Client.
Yeah, absolutely. Which brings me to my next question, you know, because there's that aspect of, you know, how do you motivate people who come to you? Because sometimes people come to you because they have to. And I guess you've almost got this mentoring, coaching, counselling position too, inadvertently, that you need to somehow motivate. So how do you go about motivating your participants or your people?
I think it's a really softly approach with us, because I think we have to recognise that we certainly have some people with a background in counselling, but not all of our volunteers are trained in mentoring or counselling. They have a natural ability, I think, because they're volunteering in this space. So it's a pretty gentle sort of approach, and I think if it's treating them with respect, you know, spending that hour of one-on-one attention, I think, is a huge thing for some of our clients who've never had just an hour. That this is all about you, nothing to do with me. This is about you. What are you comfortable in? And as I say, we do try to have a bit of fun, and making and sort of allowing them to experiment, to try something different. Oh, I never wear dresses, you know. Oh, well, just throw one on, for goodness sake, you know. What the heck, you know, we're not going to laugh at you.
That's it.
You know, and I think then people go, oh, this is a safe place.
Yes.
For me to you know, have a laugh, express myself. So I really do think that just feeding into that self-confidence and self-esteem, and it's not, you know, it ain't a miracle, you know. No. It's not a I wish it was Mary
overnight thing.
Poppins. I wish
Yeah.
it was Mary Poppins, where you could snap your fingers and cure all those lift off that baggage. But I do think, without having a particular framework of motivation, I think just that gentle approach, the respectful approach, not judgmental, and really focusing on their needs is quite motivational in itself. Yeah,
Totally. I think that really matters, and knowing too that you have that time with them, and it is all about them, because you hit the nail on the head. Very rarely do they get anyone to actually sit and learn more about them and genuinely listen. Yeah, just listen.
All together now.
Yes, that's exactly right. That listen, and not everyone knows how to do that well. And so when you come into a space like yours, and I love this thing about you've mentioned it a lot, and it really stands out for me, having fun. Instead of this serious stuff of, no, you've got to do this and you've got to do that. They know all that stuff.
Yeah. They've had a lot of people talking at them.
Totally. They've done the journey. Now suddenly they've come to a place like yours, and it's like, oh, thank goodness, now I could just take all that baggage off and just be and have a bit of fun and do some dressy stuff with these guys and just whatever. You never know. I might actually like being in a dress, for example, and we've had some fun.
Yeah,
and you're creating these wonderful memories with these people. And it is a journey. So I think that's really important, and that in itself is a motivator.
Yeah, I do think so, because people do come, they get to the end and say, oh well, I didn't know what to expect when I was coming here, but it's been fantastic. I feel great. Thank you for all this information. And then we usually say, can we follow up with you?
Nice.
Can we give you a call? See how you're going. See what's next. Have a think about it. And just don't pressure them in that particular situation. We'll pressure them later. But no, we don't pressure them at all.
That's good. No pressure. That's good to know. And so tell us a little bit about any great success stories that you can share with us, because I really think these are cool. These are important.
I did write down this one, so forgive me if I'm sort of looking down a little bit.
That's okay.
I do have a favourite, and I'll call her Sally to preserve her privacy.
Sure.
So this lady first came to us after her father passed away, and she had just secured a job. So she was, but she was very anxious about the whole starting process. She was in grief for losing her dad, and she really didn't have the right clothing for the role. So our first interaction with her was providing her with enough clothing to start work. She, in her own words, the clothing was stylish and comfortable and role appropriate. I've met this lady a number of times now, and she's a great advocate for us. But she is still a very quiet and introspective person. So she's suffered from anxiety and PTSD, and she has had alcohol-related issues. And she's very nervous about appearing in public. And she actually got a job that meant her going out to talk to people.
Right.
So it was a really brave step for her to actually take on that role.
Very courageous.
So she attended a number of workshops, one on financial acumen, and I can't remember some of the other stuff. But she also attended our post-employment support group, which was running for a while, and I'm really keen to start that up again, in the coming months. And that's just a group where women and men can come just to talk about that, the joys of starting work, or just talk about any issues they might have had in the workplace. We also brought in guest speakers around and particular topics guided by what the group wanted. So she found that support, that ongoing support, really helpful. And she says that she gained great support, assisting her to maintain her employment, providing information, a bit of fun, and shared understandings. And she says that meeting other women in those days and discussing their experiences in their jobs was a great help. I personally love that we're still in touch with Susan, and in her current role, she's working in a community support group. We're able to assist her participants, but she's also able to assist ours. So we're doing a little bit of cross referral stuff with Sally. Yeah, it's just been a nice ongoing relationship, and it's nice to see how she's taken incremental steps in her employment journey, but she's come back to one particular person in our group who's been a bit of a mentor to her, just to refine some of those things, each time. So she's been
Wow, that's wonderful.
Particular success. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us, and congratulations too. I think that's success stories like that is what keeps us coming back to these roles,
Absolutely.
and to be able to support and do even more and even better for people. And
it's so good. It's so good for me, because I don't, I'm not in the boutique every day these days, or anything like that. But it's so nice to actually pop back in every so often and just remind yourself why you do what you do, because it's kind of easy to lose sight of it when you're thinking about strategy and bringing in money and how do we survive and all that sort of stuff. Just come back down again. What about the client? Bring it back to the client, and then
absolutely,
and that's the attention again.
Yeah, well, this is it, and that's your purpose, isn't it? So always, we talk about this, remembering our why, and God, that's so important, isn't it? It's so important to remember why we do what we do, and touching base with that, because it just reminds us of situations like what you just mentioned, amazing success stories like this, and just brings us back to reality. And this is why I do what I do, and it's just gives you those little flutters of butterflies in your tummy that you
it's funny, isn't it? It's just that little heart throb or whatever that you think, oh yes, I remember.
That's it. You've changed someone's world. And it's even more than that though, Marian. Because you've changed one person doesn't mean that's it. It's a domino effect of people that they're changing.
Absolutely.
So she's going to go home to her family and all people that she sort of, communicates and connects with. And then that's going to be a flow-on effect.
Yeah. I love that aspect. I think, if we can lift one person out of poverty, then imagine the effect on that, as you say, on the family and their friends and the way they speak. I think the way they speak positively about work and life can have a huge ripple effect. Yeah.
Beautiful, fantastic. And that's from all the mentoring and all the support and guidance that you and your organisation provide. And I really love that, which brings me now to my next question, in that, what do you think differentiates you from other similar organizations? Like, what is your competitive edge there?
That's always a good question. Thank you, Alex.
You're welcome. Yes. Whoops.
Whoops. Yes, exactly. I think when I think about our competitive set, if you will, I think it is organizations that do similar work to us. So ready, set, fitted for work, people that provide clothing and support. I think the main differentiator for us is the broad inclusivity. So other organizations either only service women or only take job referrals from job agencies,
right?
Or this or that or the next thing. So they have now that in some ways that might help them to focus a bit. But I think what differentiates us is our
inclusivity.
The broad inclusivity.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, life is full of diversity. We're not all one gender. We're not all one. We're not all on the same path. So I think having an organisation that, I think we've really put some thinking into it. That okay, our main thing is providing clothing, and the other stuff is supportive and ancillary. But if we can do that well, and we can do that for a broad range of people, then our impact is potentially broader.
Absolutely. And you mentioned about focus, and if others are sort of focusing on one particular, but the thing is, because you're focused anyway, like the person is going to come into your place of where they're coming into, you're providing them that attention, you're providing them that space, you're providing them that service, and you're there for them and only them.
Yes, that's right.
So it doesn't really matter.
Moment.
Yeah, that's
it.
Hour. That's it. So that moment, and even after that too, because you did mention that it's a journey that you're taking with these guys. So it's not like you're not focusing. You absolutely are, and you're creating success for everyone, whatever success is for them, because we all see success differently.
Yeah,
could be just a little step of even getting into that dress that maybe someone's not. Well, that's progress.
Absolutely.
You know, because you've
Absolutely.
done that with the way that you present, with the energy that you and your team bring. So I think all that is important. So thank you for sharing that. That's really important. So what do you think your corporate partners would say is the best thing about Groom to Go?
Another one. You gave me a heads up on. There's a couple of these. I think it really depends on how they come to us. So corporate partners take various forms. Some are a little bit of a point in time. They might want to do a team building, you know, have a bunch of volunteers come in and just help us out. Others have, we have a bit of an ongoing situation where we can tap them, if you like, for a specific project, and they can use some of their volunteer hours to help us with a specific issue that we might have or something like that. I think for all of them, the opportunity to make a practical and visible difference in someone's life is a motivator for joining us. And I hope that the best things that they get from us is that we deliver on their expectations. And we fulfill that desire to give back a little bit to the community. Because, I mean, you know what it's like when you're working full time and you've got your own business, so you're immersed in it, you know, more than full time, I'm sure. Carving out that bit of space to give back to the community is difficult when you've got home, family, work, all that stuff going on. Absolutely. So I think if they can come in and we can provide that opportunity, and particularly we can't always have our corporates involved with our clients, because clearly, you know, that would be overwhelming. But if they can create a beautiful space for our clients, for instance, we've had a team come in one day and we just said, knock yourselves out, revamp the styling suites. They really need a refresh. Ooh. Nice. You know, oh, what excitement. And it's different from what they do in their daily work, you know. So as I say, I think probably if we can deliver on, again, having the customer at the partner at the focus of that particular day, and we deliver on that, then we've done a good thing.
Beautiful. Well done. Well done. So in terms of Groom to Go, what are your goals for the next 3 to 5 years, say, moving forward?
Yes. The biggest
with all that's going on too, you know.
The big one for us is to build a sustainable business model. It's financial predictability. It's being more deeply connected into the community, and to continue to diversify that client base. So really, across job seekers, community, family violence, justice, but you know, at the heart of it, we have to be practical and we have to be real and build that sustainable financial, you know, business model. Okay. Because you can't survive without being able to.
And that's exactly right. And that's priority, isn't it? I guess, to be able to achieve those goals.
So I guess that's our priority as a board. You know, that's our responsibility as a board. From a day-to-day perspective, then it's really that connectivity and connectivity into the community and the diversity. Building those connections for the next.
Absolutely. And they're key, aren't they? Like it's important to build those connections, particularly an organisation such as yours, a not-for-profit organisation, where you do rely on those those networks that you make.
Yeah, you have to. You know, it continues to astonish me that the Groom to Go as an organisation, and even in its previous iteration as Dress for Success, was it's been around for 12 years. But people still say, "Oh, I didn't know you were here.
Yeah,
I didn't know that's what you did. Oh, isn't that fantastic?" Yeah. So creating that awareness is also a really big thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think you're 100% right. And it brings us back to how important community connection is, really, and how I don't think we do it enough. I think we need to do it more.
I think last year really sort of reinforced that need for connectivity.
Yeah.
And I think it's been remarkable, the reach outs that we've had from people who've clearly been seeking, you know, better ways of operating, and as we have. So,
absolutely, we've all had to sort of jump on that. It's been definitely been a change, hasn't it? It's been positive change, though, I think. So it's been great. It's been great. And so I think we may have even touched on this, but in terms of the barriers in your way at the moment, Marian.
Well, the usual things for a not-for-profit really is resources. both human and financial. I think that's the biggest barrier to success for an organisation like ours. And particularly, I guess we feel a little bit as if we're starting again this year. From bringing our volunteers back into the fold, so having that critical mass of people that can deliver our services, and then not over promising. I hate to over promise and under deliver. I'd much rather, over deliver. But I do think it's that brain time, it's people time, and actual dollars. They're the main barriers. And that awareness, I think, people say, oh, what's your can I speak to your marketing person? Oh, hang on, I'll call Sandy. Can I speak to your can I speak to your your operation person? Oh, hang on, I'll call Sandy. Poor old Sandy. She's our 2 employees are just the most amazing people who just give so much more than they're paid for. But yeah, I just, if somebody asked me last night, if I gave you $500,000, what would you start and stop? And they're like, oh my goodness, can I think about that? But the first thing that came to mind was I would invest in people. I'd
totally
just increase that people resource so that we could reach more people, so we could do more.
Totally. I couldn't agree with you more. There's not enough of that, is there? And you know what? You guys do such an amazing job. We really need so many more people like you. And it's such a shame, I think, that such a service that is so needed. It really is needed. I mean, I know, having worked in Centrelink myself and in organisations such as those in welfare for most of my career, and knowing that people like yourself, like services like yourself exist, is really important to then know that you can just take a client or someone who really needs the support that you give, and you're just a hop, skip and a jump away. And you offer that personalised, that warm, feeling, but then there are so many barriers in your way. And so, I really wanted to do this interview today, Marian, because I think it's really important to raise awareness of who you are and what you do and what you bring as an organisation. I think not enough people know about it, and I just want to shout it out loud.
Shout it from the rooftops.
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
Do.
Because it really matters, and I've seen what goes on with people who need you, and so many professionals, so many organisations are not even aware. So I think it's important we create some form of awareness, really sort of get it out there and do what we can,
No,
so
I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So if I threw this one in.
Oh, okay. Question without notice.
If Groomed to Go were to be on the cover of your favourite newspaper or magazine in the next 5 years, what would the story be about?
I would love it to be about a small grassroots organisation that's grown to, I don't know, to be a significant presence in our community. I don't want to rule the world, but the region would be good,
That's a start. Got to start somewhere.
Exactly.
Small steps.
I think it would describe some of the people that we've assisted and who are doing well. And describe maybe our culture, that positive culture, that it's a great place to work and to volunteer and to be part of. And it would be a complete feel-good story, Alex.
Nice. I love that. I think it's already on the way to it. Really, you've got many feel-good stories. Yeah. So just a personal one for you. What do you personally spend your time on, or most of your time on?
Oh, I sit here in front of the pooter. Talk to people on Zooms.
Nice.
I do a lot of talking. Can you tell?
Yes. You love it.
I do love a chat. So wind me up and fool me and stick me in front of people.
That's fantastic.
I guess that's a skill that I have that I don't mind, that I am happy to use for the organisation. So if there is some promotion to be done or organisations to talk to, then I do a lot of that, both on the phone and now that we can do it in person. It's a real mix, I think, because we are small. we do get involved in the day-to-day. I don't do any styling anymore, but, you know, we're going to have to move premises towards the end of May. We'll all, as a board, muck in and, you know, do what we have to do that. So I like to think of, you know, the board as a strategic organisation, as a strategic body, but the reality is that we all muck in and do the things that are in our skill set.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
And mine is sort of having that sort of people leadership and sort of business focus, as well as yakking to anybody that wants to yak to me.
Yakking's a good skill to have, by the way. I love it. Thanks for sharing that with us.
It's a pleasure.
So, you know, Groom to Go, as I mentioned, is a not-for-profit organisation, and it is dependent on donations and volunteer resources and support from the community. And, you know, Groom to Go relies solely on fundraising, community support, personal and corporate donations and grants. So, Marian, how can our listeners and viewers support Groom to Go?
In a number of ways, but I guess the right now we have two major needs. First and always is money. So right now we have a very simple campaign going on with our Dress for Success colleagues. It's called the Empower Hour campaign, and it's simply a pay it forward campaign, where we ask people to donate 1 hour, the 1 hour of their annual salary to a woman in need. So this is focused around International Women's Day. If we can get a groundswell, can you imagine if, you know, lots and lots of people just gave 1 hour of their time, of their salary, what a difference it could make. Totally. So that's done nationally with the Dress for Success organisations, coordinated through Sydney. They can donate through empowerhour.org.au, and I gave you the link.
Thank you. I'll pop that on the website for you.
Or they can go to our website and just give us $1,000. That'd be lovely. The other thing we need is a new home.
Right. Yes.
So we will be homeless after the end of May, because we basically can't afford to continue paying quite a high rent in the Frankston shopping precinct just outside the shopping centre. So yeah, we are very much looking for a new home. So if any of your listeners happen to have a shop front or a building or you know, just in their back pockets, or know somebody that would be generous enough to offer that to us at hopefully zero or very little money, then those are the really two big priorities for us at the moment. And we're not alone. I think there are many community organisations in the southeast Melbourne region who would love even something like a big warehouse, and we could all share premises and enhance that connectivity, you know, if we're able to share premises. But anyway, those are the two things: money and a home.
Money and a home, and the two most important things in the world, really. Money and home, so that you can continue. And the thing is, you know, and this is really important to all of our listeners and viewers, because this service is so needed right now, particularly right now with the unemployment rate and all that's going on at the moment around the world, around Australia, around, you know, so we need to find you a home and we need to find you some money. And I think that's really key. And so hopefully, you know, we're in March, so we're going to get the ball rolling and see what we can do collectively as business owners, as organisations, as communities, as networks, as people who really care, to come together and see what we can do to support. And I love the campaign that you have. An hour, I mean, that's...
Of the 1,820 approximately. If you work full time. Not to mention the hours that you work that you're not paid for.
That's right. But I mean, that's not too much to ask for. It's not too much to ask for.
It's very small in the scheme of things, isn't it?
Yeah. And I think even too, like you mentioned earlier, you know, speakers, you know, once we find you a home and some money, I think then it's really important there are so many people out there, and I'm sure there are so many listeners and viewers out there right now, including myself, who do public speaking, who have the skills, who have programs in place that maybe can donate an hour every so often to serve. Why wouldn't you? Why
Indeed,
wouldn't you?
indeed.
You know, and I
A
think
regular
that's really
donation would be amazing.
totally, and I think that's really important to
Yeah.
bring that and come together and see what we can do as a community. And we're pretty good, I think, us Australians here. You know,
I think we are.
yeah, I think we come
Very
together
generous.
in times
Yeah.
of crisis. We do it really well.
Mm.
And so, you know, my mission is to do all I can to get you out there and to get this out there into the world,
broader
broader
environment.
community,
Yeah, I
and
think,
see.
you
Yeah,
know, because you just don't know who knows people and what
that's
connections
it.
people have. If there's one thing the lovely Sandy Gregory has taught me, it's you don't ask, you don't get.
That's it.
I'm much more comfortable asking these days, and you know, no harm done, no offense taken if answers are no, because
That's
you know
it.
you
Well,
get used to it. But
if you don't ask, you don't know.
exactly,
That's
put
it.
it out
End
there,
of story.
see what comes back to us.
Fantastic, Marian. Thank you so very much for your time today and for coming on to Reset Your Thinking podcast. And thank you to our listeners and to our viewers here on Reset Your Thinking. If you'd like to make contact with Marian, if you'd like to donate, if you perhaps have some great ideas about how we can get some more money or a place to stay, or perhaps you know someone who may be able to assist Groom to Go. Again, it's been an organisation that's been around for a very long time, and it's a much needed organisation. Please visit our website, and Marian's details will be on there for you to be able to connect with Marian and her team. And you can also go to anchor.fm/reset your thinking, where you can access all of the details, and you can also subscribe to our show. So if you found value in this show, we would greatly appreciate a rating on Spotify, and please share today's podcast with your friends, with your communities, with your colleagues, with your networks. It really matters. All right, thank you so much for tuning in. Have a wonderful day.